Did you know that Amazon has...
Okay, I'm back. My camera crashed my computer. That's another reason. I have a Razer camera. Don't get it. The Razer Kiyo Pro. Nothing but trouble. I have two of them. I got one for me and one for my wife's computer, and I wouldn't recommend either one. So I would not buy that. Not buy that one. All right. Let's see if we got this back here. Okay. But in the meanwhile, I look like this. Let's get working. That's a good opportunity to stop talking about how you should manage your social media stuff and just to do a little bit of work here. Prince of Twilight. How much have we written on this live on the air? Let's see. 100, almost 106,000 words. Easily create and add the perfect image. Use Copilot to generate a unique image. Try now. How about no? How about I don't use Copilot for anything? I like how that's the... Hey, do you want our AI in every program? I don't. I don't want it in any program that you make for me. I don't want it in my word processor. Well, you could use it to write your paper for you. Yeah. No. I don't want... Why would I buy a word processor that writes for me? That doesn't... It's like... Imagine going and like, you're like, okay, I'm going to buy a guitar from Sears. You go down to buy a Silvertone guitar and you're like, here it is. And you're like, that's a record player. And they're like, yeah, it plays guitar for you. That's what AI is, you know? It's like, hey, this'll, why, you wanted to play guitar, right? It's like, yeah, I want to play guitar. Okay, this one plays guitar for you. No, that makes guitar sounds come out of a speaker when I put a record on it. But what's the same? It sounds much better when this does it than when you try to play guitar. I don't think you understand the point of doing things. I'm going to take up gardening. How about you look at pictures of a garden and go to the grocery store to buy zucchini? Well, I want to grow zucchini. Why would you do that? Why don't you watch this video of somebody gardening and then we'll have the delivery service deliver zucchinis to you. It's even better than gardening. Okay. You know, that's what AI's like. Is New Pump Talk still a thing? I'm not running it right now. Because as far as having guests on, I'm happy to have guests on from time to time. But like, for whatever reason, the ratings are really bad whenever I have guests on. They're just worse. Like, people want me, and I'm good at running a show with guests, like getting them to talk for an hour, you know. But scheduling them and doing that kind of stuff, I'll get back into a phase where I'm willing to do that and able to do that. But the other thing too is just I can't always do things on time right now. I have a lot of other obligations in my life that end up taking priority over starting the show at 6:30 and things like that. You know. AI ghostwriters are flooding the market already. Adding it to programs is just going to worsen that. My whole point is like, why have a word processor? Like, what do you need? What words do you need to process? Have the AI write it for you in Word. No. How about I write it? That's the point of a word processor, is I write it. How about notebooks that already have paper? Why would you buy this blank notebook? Why are you here buying blank paper? There's already books with words already on them. You can buy the books with words already printed on them. Why would you buy blank paper? So I can put my words on it. But these words are better. They're written by better people. Why would you go through that effort? This is already done for you. No effort involved. The new Pup Talk you're aware of is just me. It's probably just me filling filling time because I didn't have like a new phase to do. So I still haven't decided what the next live stream phase will be. I don't know if I'll continue doing Livewrites or what I'm going to do. But yeah, I had for a couple years where I had a new guest on every week, and just the viewers just cratered. I don't know. It destroyed my ability to, I had a lot of live stream people when it was just me talking to a camera, and then I was like, well, I'm going to use my platform to promote more artists. And so when I did that, most of the time people will go, oh, and then they click away, right? Like, so I went from having hundreds of people to like having like 5. I was like, okay, well, this like nuked my channel. I used my platform to help other people, and I don't regret that. But it was like, clearly whatever viewership I had developed around that time, this was 5 years ago now, but like whatever viewership I had developed around that time just wasn't interested in having people come on and tell you to support their like Kickstarter or whatever, you know. And I've had good people on. I've had great people on. So, you know, I had cool people on, and they often had a lot of cool things to say, but people didn't watch, you know. Yeah, I might do games again. I'm feeling like a gaming phase is good. I want to do something. I haven't decided what, but the gaming stuff has been doing good on YouTube and on the channel. So I'm gonna do a few more videos on like Morrowind. Like, I want to do like a beginner's guide to Morrowind. Like how to begin Morrowind so that you don't get killed by mud crabs, and so you can have fun. Because to me, the hard part about Morrowind is beginning the game. Once you get your feet in and you know how to kill things without dying, and like that is good, then Morrowind is really fun and easy. Actually, very easy once you really know it. But it's hard. Like, if you don't know what you're doing, or if you're coming from Skyrim and you're just overwhelmed with choices when you begin the game. It's like, what race are you? Wow, I want to be an Argonian. It's like, no, dude, don't be an Argonian. You can't wear helmets. What? And boots. Oh, okay. You know, I'll be a Nord. Nords suck. You want to be a Breton. Be a Breton. Like, all right. And then like, well, I'll be a warrior. It's like, that's a terrible class. What? I'm using a sword. You're like, look at your skills. Blunt, sword, like you have it's awful, dude. Let me show you how to make a class. That's what I need to do. So I've done stuff like that, like how to make a class and how to like how to efficiently level in Morrowind. I want to do some more Morrowind stuff, do some more Skyrim stuff. I got my modded Skyrim set up, so it's really, I've done a couple test videos on it to see if I can get HDR video to look properly on YouTube, and the answer is I can. However, it doesn't look right if you're not on an HDR display. It just looks bright and kind of washed out, kind of just not good. Not bad, but not great. Not as good as it actually looks. So anyway, I like experimenting with that stuff. I really feel like gaming in HDR makes such a huge difference, but it's not all the way there in PC gaming because people don't have good monitors, and then like for console gaming it's not there because people don't have good TVs. But it makes such a big difference to not have your blacks crushed into oblivion, especially if you're playing in a dark room like Morrowind in HDR with like all the effects. It's like, this is beautiful. It's so atmospheric to have it be dark and to like see the flashing of the torches. It's like what you remember it being in 2002. But anyway, I'm going on long. Kevin J. Anderson. Yes, I know Kevin J. Anderson. Kevin J. Anderson actually wrote a book with Neil Peart of Rush. I read the book, but I don't remember anything about it, so don't ask me about it. Kevin J. Anderson writes by talking into a voice recorder, often while hiking, then running it through software. He wrote a book called On Being a Dictator, Using Dictation to Be a Better Writer. I know that there's some people that do that, and they are able to make that happen. But for like my process, that it just doesn't, like, I just can't do that. But I always try to write my sentences as if they sound good being spoken aloud. That's like a piece of advice from C.S. Lewis that I think is really good. It's a really good advice. There's some microbe from here that some natives have a genetic aversion to around the Mediterranean. What? Yeah. I might do some more Final Fantasy. I would love to actually. So I'll tell you, because now that I have people's attention, I know I'm like, why aren't you writing? Why aren't you doing the boring writing part with the clicky clacks? Okay, because I love to get people's feedback when they're here live. I would love to do some live streaming and some videos on Final Fantasy XI. For those of you who don't know what Final Fantasy XI is or was, it's still active. It was a Final Fantasy MMO that actually came out on the PS2. You can't play it on the PS2 anymore. But I had a friend who played it on the PS2, and it came on a hard drive that you put in the back of your PlayStation 2 to play it on the PS2. They were very, very forward-thinking. It was the first MMO that I remember on a console, but I guess it's not really the first one. Phantasy Star Online worked on the Dreamcast, so it's actually not the first, but it's the first I remember. Probably retail, right? I was thinking retail, or should I do a private server? I'm genuinely curious. Like, what's the advantage? I know that they've made some revisions to the game over the years, but I'd love to go back and revisit it because Final Fantasy XI is so different from a modern MMO. Think of the difference between retail and classic WoW. That's like the difference. There's almost as big a difference between retail and classic WoW as there is between classic WoW and EverQuest. A big difference. Not a bad or good difference. I'm not trying to say like, oh, EverQuest was so much better than Classic. No, I actually like classic WoW a lot better than EverQuest. But that's Final Fantasy XI is in that EverQuest vein where MMOs, the emphasis on MMOs, especially beginning with maybe Ultima Online, which was probably the first MMO, but there were MUDs before that multi-user dungeons that weren't graphical, or some were graphical. You could still play one called, it's been around forever, it's called Ardwolf. Private server like Horizon is about socializing. You literally cannot level past level 10. Same level mobs will out DPS you. You have to play in a party with a tank and a healer to XP on normal mobs. Okay, that's like the original game then. So it's like EQ EverQuest Project 1999. Yeah, Final Fantasy XI really never gets talked about. Retail was a very lonely experience. I've heard that as well, because they're aware that most people, I don't know. There's this weird thing that happens with MMOs. When a game is new and hot, it's never an issue playing with other people. Vanilla WoW, when it launched, it was so hot. They made it very soloable, so you could always hop in and do something by yourself. But there was always people around to group with to make it easier. And there was a lot of stuff in WoW you couldn't do by yourself at all. There was a lot of elite mobs. Well, EverQuest, and I haven't done a lot in Final Fantasy XI, so I really want to revisit it. It's been, 20 years at this point. Was like EverQuest in that if you imagine, for those of you who've played WoW, imagine every mob, the entire world is elite mobs. The entire world is elite monsters that require a whole group. And this makes sense for Final Fantasy because when you're playing Final Fantasy, like a single-player Final Fantasy, you have a whole party. And that whole party is fighting the monsters. So, I realized my desktop audio is too high. Okay. So yeah, the whole party's fighting the monsters. So that's, so if there's a good, healthy population on a server and in a game, it's never an issue. Right? The whole point is to group up, and people are really friendly because you don't make enemies because you need to group up with people. Like, it creates such a friendly environment because people need each other. Versus you go into retail WoW and everybody hates each other. Everybody's a dick. They kick you because they never have to see you again. They never have to deal with you again. They don't need you. Everything is auto-queued. You get auto-queued into a dungeon. It just puts you with 4 other randoms. The dungeon is mega easy so that you don't have to communicate with people because people hate talking. So a modern MMO like World of Warcraft becomes a really asocial experience compared to how it was. And that's how EverQuest was. You needed to group up. And EverQuest, despite the name, didn't have a lot of quests. You needed to go out and grind. So wherever level you were in, you would go find a group, looking to farm XP, and you go grind out mobs. You go grind, try to get a couple levels and not die. You know? So the caveat I have to warn about Final Fantasy XI is that it doesn't feel very Final Fantasy-ish until you get near the end of the first expansion story. Before that, it's mostly just leveling on lizards and bees, etc. Near the end of Zilart, there are twists, and you start visiting fantastical zones like floating castles and fighting JRPG god monster boss designs, and it starts feeling like you're playing a multiplayer JRPG, but it takes a few hundred hours to reach, yeah. What's the largest number of words you've written for a story in one day? Somewhere around 10,000. I've never actually had a full day to write before. But when I did, it would be in the range of 10,000. I used to be able to write 10,000 words a day. Now, it doesn't mean that those 10,000 words are great, yada, 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 but that was, when I was living in El Segundo, sometimes I'd have a whole day where my wife was working, but I didn't have anything lined up and I just have the day off. So I would just write. I would write, and I'd break up that. So I would get up, I'd write however many words till I have a meal, write some more, go work out, write some more, have lunch, write some more, or maybe go have lunch with my wife, go back home, write some more. Later in the evening, I would have already done all the work. So I didn't feel like I needed to keep writing more. But if I had a full day, 10,000 words, maybe more. I think I've written 12 before. At one point, I really cared about tracking that instead of just doing the work, But, somewhere around 10, 12, maybe. 10, 12. Yeah, so but to me, Final Fantasy XI, it's old school MMO, so people start talking about XP to reach level cap, and kind of modern players get really turned off by that because they don't get the old school MMOs. The emphasis was not on necessarily reaching level cap as quickly as possible. It wasn't about getting to max level so you could do Molten Core or something. That's just not where the emphasis was. It was about existing in this persistent world with other people. That's where the emphasis for those old school MMOs was. And so I'd love to do a little bit of it live just to, to kind of get that out, because that might really suit a lot of people. It's about the journey, not the destination. And that to me is why Vanilla WoW was so good, is that it's really was about the world and the people in it and not about raiding. Raiding only became a thing pretty deep into the initial game. And so when they released an expansion, of course, the expansion was some of what Vanilla WoW was. Persistent world, people, lore, quests, stories. But there was a big, strong emphasis on raiding because the presumption was most of the people going into the Burning Crusade expansion would have leveled up to max level and done some amount of in-game and be interested in that kind of getting high-level items grind rather than a level grind. And so that's what it became about. And the game eventually slowly transitioned to where the player base really did not care about the World of Warcraft at all. It wasn't a place full of people to talk to and adventure with and to exist in. It became a place, not even a place, it became a thing you turned on and you did tasks in order to get to, quote, content. And that content was always high-level dungeons, the content that required higher level gear and higher skill. That's what people wanted to do. They didn't actually care about the World of Warcraft at all. EverQuest didn't have quite as bad a problem, but when you go back and even if you play EverQuest now, there's hirelings and stuff. You go back and play something like Guild Wars, and there's you can hire minions, which are just extra party members to do the content with, because you can't really count on getting live people there. So for sure, I would probably try the retail servers for Final Fantasy XI just to see what's up, because if I'm streaming it, I would love to get audience involvement and kind of show what's up, and then maybe let's see what the Horizon private server's like. Is it like a 2000s era experience? When did Final Fantasy XI come out? I thought 2002. That's what I remember. I was in college at the time. Let me see if I can find. Apparently there might be PS2 private servers of. Here it is. Check this out. I'll show this to you real quick. So yes, it came in this box that looked like this, right here. Is that an eBay listing? That'd be pretty funny. So it came in this box, and it had a hard drive that went in the back of your PlayStation. And then you put the game in, and it came pre-installed, like on the PlayStation. And then you had to have a modem. So it had that hard drive and a modem that would dial into wherever, you know. This is cool. This is like maybe this is like a whole collection here. Pretty cool. Yeah. So the PS2 version came with this hard drive. It was very cool. I'm not sure when they ended support for the PS2. Is this a little... Oh, no. Yeah, I just wanted to see the screenshot. The text was huge because people were playing on, like, little screens, you know? So the text, like, look how much of the screen is filled up with text. I remember thinking the clear windows were really cool at the time. Because, like, EverQuest didn't have that. Part of the issue with retail WoW is that you have LFG matchmakers for you and teleport you to the content, so you have to be friendly. Yep, that's a big problem. Talked about it at length. It's a huge problem. And then, can you take that away from people? Can you tell people, no, you don't get to do that anymore? They would quit. They'd get upset because they're used to the least amount of friction towards getting a purple item, even though that makes them quit. Even though the bad matchmaking experience makes them quit the game, people will quit the game if you take that away. Even though that would be so therapeutic for the community to get rid of that stuff. They won't ever do it. I understand why. Like, I would never be able to convince shareholders to deal with a 50% loss in subscribers, knowing that the other 50% will be, you're going to get rid of that cycle of re-up for the expansion and quit. Quit after you do all the dungeons because you can't stand the human beings that you have to deal with. It's the complete opposite of how it was. We used to love playing with other people. Other people were so much fun in the early 2000s to play EverQuest or Final Fantasy XI or any of those games with. We were so excited to get online and play a game with other people. That was like the greatest thing. Now it's like, nah, I want to play it, but I don't want to deal with those other people. No, people. In Horizon, there are a limited number of people in your level bracket, so you become familiar with those people and then form a guild with them. Absolutely, I love it. If I choose to do that, I will definitely do the Horizon private server, at least check it out and see what's up and see if people will, like, be cool. And, you know, I learned this with Vanilla WoW, right? We went back to private servers playing Classic WoW. Everybody's friendly. Everybody's cool. You get invited to the guild. You get put on friends list. You get invited to private channels. Everybody is super friendly. And if you are a jerk, it's like you got to leave. You can't get fire or water for 800 miles from Rome. You know, you're like out. You become an outcast from everyone. Everyone's like, this guy's a dick. Don't group with him. You're like, okay, I won't. I'll take your advice because I trust you and I know you and you're my friend. Such a different experience. My God, it's so much better. That's why we loved those games. It's why EverQuest was so addictive, is it's the people that you played with. The people made it amazing. They just made such a great experience. Let's write some words. What just happened here? Okay. Okay. Well, I wasted a lot of time talking. It's okay. I love talking to people and getting feedback. So I have an idea of something cool to check out, which is a private Final Fantasy XI server. Let's discuss that. Before AI. Do you use the Microsoft Word read function during editing? No, I didn't. I don't know what that is. There's a dictate function. We could try that out. I've never used it. There's like maybe there's a function that'll let it like read to you. Transcribe. Oh, you can dictate. I like big butts. And I cannot lie. Period. There you go. Period. This works surprisingly well. I'm actually shocked that it's able to figure out what I'm saying. Period. I've never used this. Read aloud. Let's hear what it says. I've never used... I didn't even know this function existed.
It seeks to do so even now. Why I cannot say, but the elves are as sure of it as I am, as Credalo is. I cannot see the eerie light I once saw, but I don't doubt it. Who will be the stronger, eh? I must order things. Have you seen any sign that Dory will do as you intend? Yes. Alfred nodded to the south, at the circling black shapes in the warm light of sunset. CH-26.
No, it actually doesn't sound too bad. That doesn't sound too bad. What's his father's name? I forgot it. See, this is why I usually write. I usually have like a list thing open. I usually have my notes. Yeah, I have to write them up real quick. Or I make like a dramatis personae. Roderick, that's right. If you like the music, I will link it. There you go. That's the music. Do subscribe to the music channel. Okay.
Stuck with nasal congestion? We've all been there. Afrin No Drip is here to help.
Wow.
Get ridiculously powerful nasal congestion relief in seconds. Stays right where it's sprayed. Whether it's allergies or a cold, Afrin is your go-to solution. Afrin, the wow is real.
Use as directed.
There are 9 alcoholic drinks that can be found in Morrowind, and I'm going to go over them in this video. Those are...
Ah, yes, more... Oh, this isn't an ad. This is someone making a Morrowind video. That's fine. Here we go. Let's pull up another piece of music here. I still never watched Blade Runner 2049. It's sequel slop. I won't watch it. I like the original Blade Runner a lot. So much so that I refuse to watch Blade Runner 2049. I won't do it. I don't know. If someone wants to give me $50 to do a review, then yeah, I might watch it. But otherwise, I'm not going to watch it. It's not worth it to me. Anyone ever think about the geography of A Nightmare on Elm Street? I don't. I actually don't at all. I watched that not too long ago, though. I should do like a little write-up on it. It's a great piece of classic horror, I think. I thought Tron Legacy was okay. It's not. I didn't like it a whole lot, but I thought the original was pretty flawed too. I really hated the soundtrack of Tron Legacy. Despise it, but I thought the visuals were good. I thought it was a pretty good story too overall. I enjoyed it. It's not my favorite. I'm doing well. Reasonably well. Reasonably well. I have a neighbor and his son died unexpectedly last night. They're an older couple. I had just been talking to him on Valentine's Day. They had a party. So he died very unexpectedly. We don't know what. He might have had a massive stroke or a massive heart attack, but he died. So we're dealing with that. Broke it down into little sessions that had a minimum goal of 250 words. Yeah, you can work in the margins, right? You can, and that's another thing that a lot of people, especially like, let's say you have a task focus issue, you have ADHD, or you think you're somewhere in that area, right? So you have trouble doing things for 2 hours straight. That's okay. Most people do. Focus is like a muscle. You have to build it up over time. It's not like you could just sit down and do work for 3 hours, like intense mental work, without having any kind of practice directed towards that. So break it up into a couple sessions. This works really good for practicing an instrument, right? You can... I got a buffering video here. Hope the internet's okay. It's supposed to get down to 20 tonight, but yeah. Break it up into a couple sessions. Practice an hour in the morning, practice an hour at night. Practice 30 minutes in the morning, practice during your lunch, practice when you get home, practice before you go to sleep. Before you know it, you've got 2 hours of practice in, which is a lot. So you can do the same thing with writing. Write a little bit in the morning, you get tired, you're focused, you go do something else, go to work. Then right when you get home, do dinner, go work out, whatever you need to do, write a little bit before you go to sleep, and boom, you know, before you know it, you've got all your words in. So working in the margins can really help. I think reducing friction as much as possible. You know, if you have a way to like have a laptop on your kitchen table, right? Like for me, I come into this room and it's like, boom, everything's out and I'm intensely focused. So I have like deep work time here. But if I was really needing to get a lot of work done in the margins, I would leave a laptop. I have a couple laptop computers, right? I would leave one on the kitchen table so that, or even have a phone, like leave a keyboard. I would just leave a keyboard there and then I could write on my phone. Write into a document on the phone. Boom. So there's just no friction towards doing the work. You just reduce the... In single digits in Oklahoma, nice. Yeah, we're supposed to get down to 20 in Houston, which is wild. You know, -5 Celsius. Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. We're worried about them. You know, and you know, it's like I just talked to him. I just talked to this guy the other day, and he's gone. He's a really nice guy. I don't know. Play guitar. He's a guitar player, I think. So. All right. Miss Comedy, did you see that crap show SNL 50? Nope. And I haven't even watched the highlights. I don't watch any TV. Luckily, I just didn't have to see that. We felt like SNL stopped being funny in like 2000. And I don't think it ever recovered, you know? Told y'all about the stray cat I adopted. She's so cuddly now. I worry that she's lonely during the day. I don't know if she's spayed yet, but if she isn't, I'm considering letting her have one litter and giving my most than keeping one kitten for company. So, cats are often much better as solitary creatures than especially dogs. Dogs really like to have a friend. Cats, not as much. A male and a female cat will sometimes get along. I have 3 cats, but there's like pretty much open hostility between the 2 female cats. The male cat doesn't care, but he will get beat up on sometimes by one cat that I have, Eva, the white cat that you've seen like jump on me. She's kind of a... Yeah, Mad TV I liked better than SNL as well. I agree. Valerius, the reanimated Roman. That woman was like none other back then, especially on Roger Dodsworth, the reanimated Englishman. Once had a pet python, had to give it away because it was getting too big. I've heard of that too. That's a problem in Florida, is people get these pythons and they get giant and they just turn them loose, and now there's like breeding populations of ball pythons out in the Everglades eating everything. They're like a major pest. Snapping. Alligator is good. Fried alligator is pretty good. Yeah, fried alligator is pretty good. You can get it a lot here in Houston. Fried alligator is pretty good. It tastes like chicken. It's kind of like fried chicken, but there's a different texture to it, I guess. Yeah. I've never had snake, though. I've never had snake. And we're about out of time with all the delays. 1,700 words. We need to pump out a few more. Let's get it to 2,000. I feel good about that. I need to stream a bit more, but I couldn't I'm glad I didn't on Friday. We went to this Valentine's Day party. I'm really glad I went because that was the last time I got to see my neighbor's son. So he was middle-aged, but very sudden death. So I'm really glad I didn't stream and went to that instead. But I'll try to stream again on Friday. Somebody's cooking, I can smell it. Yeah, it really sucks. I mean, my neighbors are old. But, like, you don't really, like, prepare for losing a child. You know, no one really wants to lose a child. It's awful. Yeah, like 35, you know, 35 to 40. I think he was in his 40s, actually. I'm trying to think. Actually, he's probably older than middle-aged. Because my neighbors are 80, so... he was probably, old. He was probably 50. Yeah, my neighbors are close to 80. If they're... I think he's 80. So, actually a little older than middle-aged. On the southward side of middle-aged, but still, like, no one... To die very suddenly, that really sucks. All right. Yeah. Stepmom just lost her mother this past weekend. It's rough, yeah. You know, when someone dies when they're old or they've been infirm for a long time, like my uncle died this past year. And I love my uncle. He was a great guy. But he had numerous, like, health issues towards the end of his life. So even though, and the way he died was really, it was bad. He died in a bathroom at the doctor's office. He fell down and hit his head and ended up dying. But it was like, there was so much leading up to that even though this was like a really bizarre and awful way for him to die, it wasn't wholly unexpected. It wasn't like he just died out of the blue, which was really bad. You know, my dad was killed on the job. So he left and went to work one day and didn't come home. Like, that was brutal. And so this one is like, he collapsed at his home and that was it. He never woke up, you know. It sucks. Anyway, that's that. Try to take care of them. It's got to be a good neighbor. Let me see how much I wrote. Did we get 2,000? I bet you we didn't. And I'm going to feel bad. Should we get to the cliffhanger? 100 words. Let's get to the cliffhanger. I'll leave you at a cliffhanger. All right, I think that's it for today. 9 o'clock, time to go. I appreciate everybody joining me. Chapter 25 will be up on the Patreon and Substack, so make sure you grab that. Chapter 24 was up the other day, so for all patrons, you get free copies of this, and yeah, so that'll be that. You can check out the music here. I'll link it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll just link the channel. Now here's an interesting one. I think I can do it with like subscribe equals true. Hold on a second. Ah yes, if you put sub confirmation equals 1, it will automatically subscribe you. That's the link I should be using. So just click that and you'll be subscribed to the music channel. I'm gonna have more different music coming after I finish this cycle. After I get to 100 improvisations, 100 pieces, I'm gonna shift gears a little bit and do something different. I'm not sure what yet, but because I haven't begun planning that, I want to finish and close that loop. And then that's going to be hours and hours and hours of music like this that you can listen to for free, which is great. 2 live albums I've done. 1 for each year, and I'll probably put together a 3rd one of stuff that I've done that I'll do in 2025. And so we'll have 3 out of that. Proof that just like a little bit of consistency, just doing a couple of these every week or 1 every week, you end up putting together a lot of them. So I'm looking forward to what I want to do for number 100. I have something big in mind that's going to be really epic, but because it would take a long time to perform, like an hour, be like another one like Rain, I really have to like have my schedule squared away to do that. So anyway, that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much. I will see you all next time. Have a great day. I don't think there's anything else to link. So I will, but please do be on the mailing list. Let me link the mailing list actually, because I do have I'll have a Kickstarter coming up where you can actually buy a signed book, because I don't do book signings. That's one of your only opportunities to get something like that. It'll be a limited run of hardbacks for King Leper. So check it out. I'll see you all next time. Can I also sing well? I wouldn't say I can sing that well. I have done singing gigs though. I have done that. I wouldn't call myself a great singer. I've done like rock operas and stuff too. Done opera, and so musical theater. I don't think it's necessarily my strength, but I can do it if I want to. But I appreciate that. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining me and giving me input and pointing me towards Final Fantasy XI private servers. I'll check those out. The Horizon server. And I'll see you all next time. Have a great day.